Welcome. We are excited that you are here with us today. We are going to be talking about one of the items that's on the 35M professional development list, which is From Writing to Learn, and it's called SRSD. So we want to thank this group for being here with us today. It was a tight turnaround, and they were incredibly gracious to come and work with us. So over the past 2 weeks, Wayne Risa has collaborated with vendors identified on the 35M professional development list to offer webinars that provide an overview of their product and services. Today, you'll have the opportunity to learn more about SRSD during this 1-hour session. At the end of the week, once all sessions have concluded, we will share webinar recordings and information shared by the vendor. If you would like this earlier, please visit our grant website at grants.risa.net. Under the 35M section, you will find an updated recording links and vendor material as they become available. Today, if you have any questions, please place them in the Q&A window. You can find that at the bottom of your screen. It's usually around the share button. If for whatever reason you have difficulty using the Q&A, the chat will also work. There will be representatives from the vendor who are able to answer your questions. At the end of our session, after we stop recording, you will be able to come off mute and ask any questions that are of interest to you. And finally, Wayne Risa does not endorse specific providers. These webinars are offered as a service to help districts make informed decisions about the 35M grant spending. For questions about specific products, please contact the vendors directly. If you are a Wayne County district or school and would like support in identifying instructional needs or developing a plan for purchasing and adapting materials, we invite you to reach out to one of our Wayne Risa literacy consultants. And with that, I am going to turn this over to April Camping.
Thanks, Carrie.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. Great to see everybody. I'm joined by a couple of my colleagues as well, Sandy Jones and Katie Bartell. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. All right. So just briefly, who are we? We are SRSD Online, and we offer a series of online courses to help you learn to teach self-regulated strategy development for writing. And I'll go over what that means and what that looks like here shortly. In addition to our online self-paced courses, we have some customizable PD options, so we'll cover those too. But we're really grateful to be here today. The 35M grant is a great opportunity to make really powerful, impactful changes. So we appreciate being included here, and we appreciate the rigorous process to get here. Our focus is on improving writing for your students, improving writing performance, and improving teacher self-efficacy for teaching writing. Our group here at SRSD Online is pretty eclectic. We have a pretty diverse background. We have a number of classroom teachers, folks who are doing research on SRSD, administrators, professors, and then on the business side of things, we have successful business leaders, folks who design courses with user experience in mind, and our tech specialists. And all this to say that we hope to bring you a smooth, seamless online PD experience and bring our backgrounds in education to the forefront here. So we just want to emphasize that hopefully we've covered all of these bases, and our expertise can help you improve writing in your school. I'll be leading this today, but my background is as a classroom teacher in kinder through 8th grade. And then I went on to do my PhD with Dr. Karen Harris, who created self-regulated strategy development, and Dr. Steve Graham, who's one of the more preeminent writing researchers. Sandy, who's here as well, has a wealth of knowledge and background in administration, in school leadership, in special education, and in SRSD PD as well. And Katie is our operations manager who you can work with to bring SRSD to your school. All right. Quick reflection, and no one is unmuting right now, of course, but I just wanted to prime our thinking a little bit here in terms of why are you either attending this webinar right now or watching it on a recording? Why are you interested in learning about SRSD? And then to take it a little deeper, what are you seeing in terms of student performance for writing? Are we seeing students who are successful, or is this an area where we need some more support? Fairly commonly, we see that student writing performance is not where it should be. Writing doesn't often get the time and attention in school as other subjects just by default. We have so many initiatives and so many things to attend to. So I just want us to reflect on what we are seeing with writing and where we might want to go, how we might want to improve. Okay, so what outcomes are you hoping to achieve through SRSD? Our outcomes, our goals. In the short term today, we want to help you identify some professional development options that may work for your school or district in terms of writing PD. All right, how can we support you and your teachers in learning to teach writing with an evidence-based practice? And then further down the road, our long-term goal is to help you bring this evidence-based practice, SRSD, to your school to positively impact student writing and teacher experience with teaching writing. All right. Before we jump in, I'm going to pause real quick so you don't have to hear from me the whole time, but we have compiled some of our clients are real educators, and we wanted you to hear from them in terms of their experiences and some of the writing samples that they wanted to share to get the word out about SRSD in their schools. All right. And if there's any issues with the sound, if someone can just let me know. All right.
And I put a survey out to teachers on what they felt the needs of our district was. And the teachers started coming up to me and telling me, you know, I feel great about teaching all the other areas. I feel so successful and confident, but it's that writing that I'm struggling with.
But now that changed almost immediately. For one, everybody's speaking the same language across the school.
I'm hearing teachers come to me and say, I am an excellent teacher of writing now. And I'm hearing students say that they like writing and they're really good at it.
Like everyone's just so excited about this program because it's like so accessible and flexible with our teachers. And kids are excited.
And to see their growth from the beginning of the year in September to now, I think parents were really blown away. There's certain programs or certain techniques and strategies that just think every single student should have the opportunity to learn by. And SRSD is one of those. There's not one single student it wouldn't help.
SRSD is really highly engaged, really showing kids how to overcome a lot of hurdles, overcome the hurdles of what to put on the page. The kids, they just enjoy it. This student, she's like, I cannot wait to show my mom and dad my opinion writing. And she's like, they're going to be so impressed. They're going to be blown away. I am so good at writing.
And the kids' questions have really dramatically changed. We've gone from, can you read this and tell me if it's any good, to, hey, I'm looking at my checklist and I've got this piece of evidence here, but I'm not sure if I've explained it well to connect it to my topic sentence. Can you look at that? That I can work with.
It gives them the confidence where they're eager and excited to get into them. And that's something we haven't seen ever in our district.
Yeah, so this is a student in third grade. This was her pre-samples and pretty much no organization. There's not enough content in there to even be organized. And so when you look to the sample, this is after one genre of instruction. So this isn't after years. This is literally, we started this in October and then we went so October to January. Now we're just finishing it. So it's 3 months. And the student, you see, can use hooks. The student is able to design a topic sentence. They're able to preview ideas. They're able to use some linking words. This is an example that's not singular. If across all the classes, we see this type of progress right now.
This is a fifth grade student, has really great ideas, but struggles with putting them on paper. So writing is not his creative outlet. And this particular student came up to me and he's like, Miss, look at my writing. And I was blown away because you can see the handwritten is the base writing sample and the typed is his post-assessment. And I was like, this is amazing. You have all the parts, you have your transition words, you have your $1,000,000 words. We have many students that show this amount of effort who normally didn't before we had this SRSD program.
So these are pre and post assessments. The pre-assessment here is about writing a letter to your principal about dress code. And you can see that this student who is dyslexic, in his first paragraph, he's got a lot of good things in there, but there's not much organization, there's not a clear thesis, it's just a lot of words on the page. And what you see on the other side is a semester exam. And if you look through that, he was able to pull evidence from the texts and defend that evidence, and all of the parts of a good essay are there. There's a solid thesis statement. There's a solid conclusion. I mean, I wasn't writing like this in high school. And this is an 8th grader who has been a struggling writer basically his whole life. And so the confidence boost has been incredible for the kids.
SRSD has really helped in kindergarten. In the beginning, all the students really could do would be to draw the pictures and through all the lessons. And they did tons of brainstorming and scaffolding, and they were able to add the picture now with the writing. And it was just so exciting for the students. It gives them the confidence where they're eager and excited to get into it.
And so I would highly encourage anybody who works with students to investigate this program because I know it works. And I just think it's worth taking the time to learn a little bit more about it if you work with students.
It actually changes kids' lives.
All right. So just wanted to give you a little intro to SRSD from the educator's perspective and the student samples. It can be powerful to see what it does before we get into exactly what it is. So there we got to hear from folks kind of across the board. We had some kinder examples and some secondary examples, but that is something we want to communicate today is that SRSD works across kinder to 12th grade, and we have programs and resources to support all those things. So what is SRSD? I'm going to give kind of a brief overview, and with the caveat that we would love for you to explore our webpage and look at some of the resources there. Giving an overview of SRSD is a challenge. It's a complex approach and framework, but I'm going to distill it as best I can. And I want to emphasize that we do have the resources to help you teach this approach, regardless of what curricula you're using. So I've used this word a few times already today, but SRSD is an evidence-based approach. I'll get into the research a little bit later, but it does have that stamp of approval from the Department of Ed as an evidence-based practice, an official EBP. That means there is enough research behind it to indicate that it works for a variety of students. All right, and SRSD is used to teach writing and improve student writing outcomes through these stages of learning that I'll show you in a moment that focus on a few things. They focus on the composition aspect of writing, the ideation aspect, and the organizational aspects, okay? So there's still additional instruction needed in grammar, sentence writing, handwriting, things like that. But SRSD gets at that really cognitively heavy, challenging part of writing that is the ideation, the structure, etc. Okay? It is also rooted in the big 3 genres. So we do units of instruction in each genre. Generally, we like to begin with opinion or persuasive writing, move to informative writing, and then move to narrative. So this is a little contrary to what happens in some curricula, where there's kind of this hopping around between genres or this mixing without really spending the time getting to know the elements of that genre, the audience, how to consider what each audience would appreciate the most, or how to come up with strong opinions with reasons, how to use source text effectively. So I just want to note that SRSD spends time in each genre to help students build the confidence before asking them to produce writing, all right? One of the key features of SRSD is this focus on modeling, and I'll show you that when I go over the stages in just a second. But SRSD really emphasizes teacher-led instruction that gradually shifts to student-led. And the purpose of that is sort of this, this I do, we do, you do model that gives students the skills first, shows them what's expected, allows them to work collaboratively on those expectations, and then gives them the chance to work independently and show what they've learned. Okay, but we again see a lot of times that we kind of post something for writing or give students a prompt, but that guidance on the real strategic thinking behind prompt to finished essay or finished paragraph or finished sentence is often missing. So that's what SRSD seeks to fill. Another thing to emphasize here is that SRSD is an approach. It's not a curriculum. It can be applied in any context. A lot of the things that you'll see on our scope and sequence or in our unit plans are things you're probably already doing. There's some things that are just good teaching, and we take those and we add the additional strategic pieces needed for effective writing instruction. Okay. SRSD really supports teacher empowerment and flexibility. So there's a lot of teacher decision-making that happens here. The resources we provide give metascripts for things you could say in class, ways that you could lead a lesson. You're welcome to use those exactly as they are or make modifications that integrate other content or fit your teaching style or needs. It's very adaptable and recursive. So part of that is because of this heavy cognitive load of writing and all the things that impact a writer at a given time. A lot of the things are repeated throughout each lesson just to make it more internalized and automatic for students. All right, so the bottom line here, if I had to make it as simple as I could, SRSD is a systematic, explicit, and consistent way to teach writing. All right, so SRSD has focused on these 6 stages throughout upwards of 40 years of research. And I'm going to show you what our scope and sequence looks like for each of these. We have individual lessons for each stage laid out. And the goal there is to just make it really clear, what do I do in each stage? How do I know when to go to the next stage of instruction? The first stage of instruction is activating background knowledge. And I'll show you the lessons there. Right here, we see that we are getting students interested in the genre at hand. We're giving them an overview or an introduction to a strategy to help them organize their writing for that genre. And then we start using models. We start using models and exemplars to show students how the strategies can help. We emphasize that the models they're looking at are models made by someone using that strategy. Okay. Moving on to stage 2. This is where we continue doing what we call backwards map, where we present students with a graphic organizer, and together we pick apart existing exemplars to find the elements of that genre, but also to find what's missing, again, to reinforce the idea of how a plan helps, how a strategy helps, right? And through all of this, we introduce the topic of self-regulation. Self-regulation here is at the heart of SRSD. That's what the SR stands for, of course. And I have some slides to show you some of the key components of that in a bit, but that is really the difference maker here. These lessons function well on their own, but introducing that self-talk and the goal setting and the progress monitoring skills to students is where we really see the difference. Moving on to stage 3. This one is generally one of the longer stages, and this is the model it stage. Here is where we have 2 parts. First, the teacher acts like a student and they write from prompt all the way to finished product, okay? So they kind of go through the challenges of how do I understand this prompt? First, I'm going to break it down. What do I really need to write? What do I need to do? Then they go through the steps of planning, writing, using self-talk, revising and editing, and then graphing their progress and setting goals, okay? All of that the teacher does using this cognitive modeling, where you're verbalizing your thoughts, you're working through each step, you're showing students what you are thinking and doing to make decisions. And that's really key here. It's very different from giving students a prompt and asking them to go do some research, figure out how to respond. We are actually showing them what we do, what we're thinking, how we address challenges. Then all of that happens again, but in a more collaborative way. I mentioned earlier, there's this sort of gradual release approach here. So first we show them everything we're doing and thinking and how we go through that process. Then we ask them to engage with the process alongside us. Can they guide us to the next step? Can they help me with some self-talk when I am finding this writing experience challenging or I don't know what to do next? All right, so that's stage 3, and that is generally one of the longer stages. Stage 4 is just a brief check of memorization and internalization. Are my students using the strategies? Do they know what each one means? Do they know the purpose of each one? Stage 5 is also one of the longer stages, support it. And this is where we construct any number of mini lessons or reteach previous lessons just to help fill any gaps before students get to this independent performance stage, right? Independent performance is where they have seen us do enough models. We have worked collaboratively enough times. We have done enough lessons to be prepared to practice on our own. All right, so you'll see here that there is a lot of buildup before students actually get to write, and that's intentional. Everything is intentionally designed with an SRSD to improve that self-efficacy and to build student confidence so that their first independent writing experience is a successful one. All right, we're trying to shift that stigma around writing and those negative experiences around writing. All right. Onward to the research. As I said previously, SRSD has an extensive research background and is a really significant part of the science of writing. We know the science of writing involves all these aspects collectively that involve effective writing instruction. SRSD gets at one of the really most cognitively demanding pieces of that, okay? And that's that composition piece, the ideation, organization, composition piece, all right? At this point, research on SRSD has been done all across the United States in urban, suburban, rural communities, across 5 continents. And we have seen a positive impact in student writing outcomes, both in terms of writing quality, so holistic quality, analytic quality, in terms of genre elements, in terms of holistic performance, and then in terms of these other skills like self-efficacy and confidence. So that is on the side of both students and teachers. All right, SRSD has continually answered the challenge for how do we improve student writing performance? How it all began, I mentioned Dr. Harris briefly, but she began forming the kind of theories around SRSD back in the 80s. It's a multi-theoretical approach, which means that there isn't really one way or one theory that addresses the complex ways students learn, right? SRSD takes that into account. Dr. Harris has taken that into account in developing SRSD. All right, so it gets at the social aspects, the cognitive aspects, the emotional aspects, and even the physical aspects of writing. All right, and as I said, at this point, it has been deemed that, gold stamp evidence-based practice in writing across grades, across populations, and across countries, right? If anyone wants any citations or anything from this presentation, please feel free to reach out. Happy to provide any of that. Some of the more powerful research that has emerged is seen in these meta-analyses, and a meta-analysis combines all the research that's been done on a topic into one sort of number called an effect size. And that is exactly what you would think it is. It measures the magnitude of impact of that approach or of that instruction. Okay, so this was from an elementary meta, and SRSD had an incredibly large effect here of 1.17, which was the highest of any other approach to writing instruction by quite a large margin. And this was the impact that SRSD had on writing quality, so that holistic measure of writing quality. All right, same for adolescent students. We see here SRSD has the largest effect size compared to any other approach. And these effect size are, these are what we would consider very, very large, all right? Basically what these mean is that just about 100% of every student who is in an SRSD group in this research outperformed significantly their peers who were not, okay? So that's big. In summary, I've already shown you this earlier meta-analysis, and in a more recent one, which looked at some of the newer work, again, we see these same very large effect sizes, some of them ranging up to the 2s, which is substantial. All right, so all this to say that SRSD has a huge evidence backing behind it. I wouldn't be up here sharing this if I didn't think it worked and if I hadn't taught with it myself. I've gotten to see it in numerous research studies and in professional development experiences. So it works. It works for students who are on grade level, for students who are below grade level. It works for students with LD, students with EBD. It works across the board. All right, briefly, I wanted to show you how SRSD is able to achieve some of these results, and the self-regulation is a key difference maker here. So you will see in our products and in our courses, we talk a lot about the different types of self-talk. Excuse me. So some of the types of self-talk we address include defining the problem, or defining what the task demands. And we teach students, how do I distill that? How do I understand that? How do I ask myself the right questions to understand what I'm being asked to write and what I'm being asked to do? This is a big one here, focusing of attention and planning. So some executive function stuff where we work on attending to the task and making plans. We help students with self-talk on those aspects. Then we help students with some self-talk for the experiences during writing. So how do I use the strategy? What is the strategy for this genre that I'm supposed to do? What are my tricks for this genre? Then how do I self-evaluate? How do I detect what's wrong? How do I fix it? What questions and things do I need to look at and ask myself to improve this writing? All right, and then certainly here we have some coping and self-control, self-talk, and self-statements. What do I do when I am tired and I don't want to do this writing anymore? What do I do when I am unclear about what the prompt's asking? What do I do when I just have exhausted all my ideas and I can't think of anything else? We teach students how do we cope with this and how do we continue moving forward. After writing, we teach students some strategies for self-reinforcement to help, again, reinforce these positive experiences in writing. And then ways to set individualized goals, goals that are measurable, goals that are realistic, goals that we can check after each experience in writing. All right, so all this to say that SRSD is a flexible, recursive, effective approach to teach writing. It dramatically improves student and teacher outcomes based on these 6 stages of instruction. All right. Next up, I want to show you how you can learn to teach writing with SRSD. All right, we have, and I will share this with you, or let's see, let me pop this into the chat briefly, so everyone has access to this while I go over it. All right, so I've uploaded this brochure. Oh, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this, but Carrie will be sharing this later. But just to go over this, you can go to srsdonline.org/courses, and I have some QR codes you can look at. We have a number of options. We have a self-paced SRSD course for kinder to 1st grade, 2nd to 5th grade, or secondary 6 to 12. And I'll show you a little brief overview of those. But again, those are all online, self-paced, and those teach you how to use all these lessons within each stage of SRSD instruction. We also have an instructional coach course, and this is above and beyond the basic SRSD Writing to Learn course. The coach course involves, there's 2 modes. There's either an asynchronous or a synchronous mode, and it's on advanced ways to support SRSD implementation. So in the SRSD course, we get into topics like sustaining SRSD, observing and providing feedback, coaching tips, common challenges and solutions that teachers experience and ways to address those. So this is a really valuable course to help SRSD stick and to help it sustain in your school or district. All right, above and beyond these, again, we have some additional things that we're offering that are exclusive to the 35M grant, so we will share those. But basically our goal is to provide the courses and the support needed to help SRSD stick at your school. All right, let me go over, I'm going to jump in and show you the courses now. So our K1 and 2 to 5 course, as I said, it takes about 6 to 8 hours. It's fully online and self-paced. Within this course, there are modules for each stage. So all those 6 stages, there's a dedicated module. There are modeling videos that show you what that lesson looks like in the classroom with real teachers and real instruction. We have a full suite of unit plans and materials. There are self-assessments with guided feedback as well. And then, as I said, we have the adaptations for younger students. We recognize that early writing looks a lot different. We're using often some more oral language, some dictation, some drawing, some labeling, etc. So those are there as well. The secondary course, same structure, modules, classroom modeling videos, unit plans, those self-assessments all exist there. All right, and I'll show you these right now. All right, so the structure of the course, once you're enrolled, you'll go in and both for the K1, the 2 to 5, and the secondary, all of the course materials are included up front in the course. And these are the full unit plans. They're organized by genre. And we have a couple different levels, a lower level and upper level for each genre. You can either download them as PDFs. All right. These are complete with all the materials you'll need, all of the metascripts, all the exemplars, everything you'll need here. Or you can also download the zip files, and the zip files are there in the event that you want to make any edits to some of the exemplars or the text. Let's say you want to add something a little more complex, or you want to make something a little simpler, depending on the grade level, you're welcome to do any of that. As I said, it's a very flexible, adaptive, recursive approach. So all of the files are up here. And then we get into the course itself. Right, so we have a little overview and introduction here. How do you take this course? What is SRSD? And then each stage of instruction has a module for each individual lesson, all right? Let me just show you a quick sample here. Once you're in the module, you'll have an overview of what that lesson is about. Okay, some background info, things to consider, all the materials you'll need. All right, and then a step-by-step approach for teachers. Okay, this is taken directly from those PDF and zip file plans that I just showed you. We have a fidelity checklist to make sure we're staying on track and implementing with fidelity, and then a video of that lesson in the classroom. All right. The last part of each lesson is this self-assessment, and the self-assessment is intended to be helpful. It's not a test or a quiz. It's more of, did I track all the key components of that stage and of that lesson? All right. So that's briefly what our K1, 2 to 5, and secondary courses look like. Let me show you now the coach course. All right, so as I said, we have 2 options available here, and we recommend that everyone takes one of either the elementary or the secondary Writing to Learn for SRSD courses first. That lays all the foundation for SRSD, and then you can come take the coach course. If you are a person who wants to champion SRSD at your school, if you're a coach, if you're an administrator, if you want that additional support on how do I really make this stick here? Okay, so this is very key. We've had a lot of success with this course just because it goes above and beyond to those considerations of, school context factors. 2 options here, online asynchronous modules that are coupled with in-person Zooms. And that'll be myself, Sandy, or another SRSD expert who worked directly with you on Zoom to do some practice, to do some use of resources and tools and things like that. So you can do that where you go take the modules and then meet with us on Zoom, or you can do it entire asynchronous, where all of the practice is built in online. You will upload yourself doing the practice and we'll provide you feedback online. So a couple different options there. Again, this is how do we support SRSD? How do we support teachers with their implementation? There's some additional resources and tools and an observation app that will come with regular reporting. So you can visit classrooms, log your observation data, monitor fidelity, and get reports on where do we need some more support? What feedback can I provide as a coach? All right. I'm going to show you briefly how this course is structured in terms of the sessions. All right. Okay, so the coach course is coupled with these additional above and beyond pieces. If you do the sessions where you'll meet with us, this is how they'll be structured. If you do it fully asynchronously, all this content will be online, all right? But basically, we will meet and we will go over some of the key components from stages 1 and 2, and we will do some practice on implementing these lessons. So the coach course and all of the things that come with it, the focus here is on practice-based professional development. We work with coaches to do the training, and then subsequently, coaches work with teachers to do this above and beyond practice as well. Okay, so we have coach sessions and teacher sessions, and the goal is we work with coaches to complete practice-based PD. Coaches can then go work directly with teachers to complete that same practice-based PD, all right? So we have some emphases on each of the stages and the key lessons within each stage. Okay, but also some focus on scenarios, discussion, actual practical coaching tips. How do we transition to new genres? How do we make a plan for implementation that aligns with our curriculum? So we talk about integration, we talk about using data and data to make decision making. All right, so that's kind of how the coach course is structured alongside those teacher sessions that you will lead if you decide you want to do the coaching model. Let me get back here. All right. We recommend this model because of its focus on practice-based professional development, or PBPD. Practice-based PD has itself an extensive research base, and PBPD for SRSD, sorry for all the acronyms, but PBPD for SRSD has been proven very effective in increasing fidelity of implementation. So that's why we like to do this model where we actually get to view practice, observe it together, discuss, reflect before we take it into the classroom. All right. All right. I am going to pop this up here. If you would like any additional info, if you want to talk through anything here or about a customizable program, etc., please let us know. You can email Randy or scan this and complete that form. And while you're doing that, I'm going to pause to see if we had any questions. All right, it looks like there was a question. How many teachers can participate in the group course for the price on the document you shared for the 35M? So the teacher course itself is $299. Carrie might be able to answer better. I'm not sure of overall budgets, but we might be able to get more specific answers if we knew that. I'm not sure how much everyone is allotted, but our course itself is $299. And then the coach course is an additional price, but I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Carrie.
No, we don't know the final budget yet until everybody applies, because it's a grant. It depends on how many people actually apply.
Thanks for clarifying. I'm going to stop my share here and give it to you, Carrie. I'm not sure if you wanted to pause or keep going.
Yeah, well, we want to thank everybody for being here today. We know that school just got out and that you're busy, and we want to thank everybody who's watching this recorded. Should you have any questions, I know that this team is ready to answer them. So I'm going to actually stop the recording right now. And if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, we can do that at that time. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everybody.